hypnotherapy ako. So, kailangan medyo
Ayun na. We're
ng konti. Do you want take
Hi,
off?
we're officially live now on Facebook.
Yeah. Ayan. Hello to our viewers.
Hi, everyone. Okay. Sorry about that. We are doing some back-end part, but now we're officially live here on Facebook, and you are watching another episode of Bold Moments Live. First of all, good morning, Philippines. Good morning, world. Welcome to today. We are privileged to have an intelligent, positive, and encouraging woman that has touched the lives of many. Actually, Shirley, I've watched her episode with one of our NBU fellows, Louis Baarde. I think you were also in that.
Yes.
I don't know. Episode. You watched the episode as well.
And then I'm really so inspired, Ralph, talaga. Parang I think this is something na kailangan talagang marinig ng lahat ng mga tao, especially of what's going on, no, sa nangyayari. And I think that talk kasi really help a lot of people emotionally and mentally. And I think, it's something that it can fuel your heart to really get your purpose in life. So this was gonna be a very exciting and amazing day, Ralph.
Yes, indeed. It is an exciting, that's our line here in it's gonna be an exciting day. And definitely it's going to be an episode full of fire because this woman, if there's a representation of her, an object, maybe it's fire. And she is going to share to us today how to be brave and courageous during these times. Let me introduce her first before we invite her over. Cherry, the name her name is Cherry Pua Africa. She's one of the most widely followed transformation coaches in Asia. She is an international speaker, a master practitioner in NLP and hypnotherapy, an author, a coach, and a masterclass trainer in Singapore. Cherry has helped over 300,000 individuals. Wow, ang dami. And so businesses. And has been featured in various TV and radio talk shows and newspapers in Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the beautiful Miss Cherry Pua Africa. Hi, Cherry.
Hello, Ralph, and hello, Shirley. Thank you. Awesome day to everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction. I wish you all good fire, best fire.
Yeah, the voice pa lang, it's really calming na, Ralph, no? Parang, there's really something in that voice that we really wanted to hear and needed to hear for today.
And we are going to hear that for another hour. So if you guys are watching us here in our page in NBU, please put your comments. Anong gagawin nila, Shirley, para maka-engage?
Put their comments or any questions in the comment section so that our speaker will gonna later answer it in our Q&A portion. And also para mas ma-acknowledge natin sila, we are encouraging everyone to please put also in the comment section where you're watching from. Yan, para makita natin that we are in worldwide.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so please put in the comment section where you are from, and please also put your their questions. Okay, let's get started. How are you, Cherry? First, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, fine, no? And I hope everybody is well. Right now, the most important job we have is to stay alive. It's nice to actually feel all of you. We're gonna feel each other in your heart to heart. So right now, we're actually looking at everyone's pixelated version right now, and it's the first time I'm meeting you all. I'm meeting you both. I'm very, very honored. Very happy. Thank you so much for bringing me here in your stage.
Right. It is an honor for us as well to have you. You are. Ang dami ko narinig about her. It's my first time to actually know about her the last time na I saw her interview. But the more that I dig in her material and what she did so far, I cannot help but be amazed by you. So, Cherry, my first question would be, you've been doing this for a while. Speaking, how long has been your career so far when it comes to NLP and this whole thing?
I think it's maybe about 2 decades of work. I started in Singapore. So after my career here, I moved to Singapore and then went to Malaysia and Thailand. So tried to build, some started started my passion there, and then built my NLP, practice there, and then I came back here in the Philippines, 2012.
To be honest, she doesn't look like she's already doing this for the past 2 decades. Ano? It's like she's still in her early 30s.
Oo, parang nahiya ako. Hindi ko mas matanda pa.
Malaki ang age gap natin, Ralph and Shirley.
Pero hindi halata. You're so young and pretty. Yes, Shirley.
Ang gusto ko lang itanong is that what motivates you to become an NLP practitioner, or what motivates you to become a coach?
I think it's the compelling passion to share, to generate, because being a coach generates, energy in my being. We are all programmed to actually share and live meaningful lives. This is how I find meaning in my life. Actually be able to share part of me, whatever it is that I've learned. I'm limited by my own consciousness, by my own thoughts and emotions. I try and expand it as much as I can by talking to people like you, and try to bring it to my map and then share it to the world. So my motivation is really in seeing transformation, and really just being a sidekick and emceeing it, because the real transformers are the people themselves.
Wow.
Yes. So the keyword there is transformation. Can you define the word transformation for us, Cherry?
Transformation. The one of the words in the word transformation is form, right? So it means there's a change in form. Change is actually fixing the past. That's why people don't like change. It's boring to them. There's a past habit, I need to fix it. Then parang there is resistance to change. But transformation is something that's merrier. It's something that's more exciting, because transformation actually, brightens the future. It provides hope. And that's how I differentiate change and transformation. Change is fixing the past. Transformation is more future-oriented. And people are excited by the future because it involves imagination, and there's safety in imagination, diba? So I imagine my future self. So the form is changed. And success is an altered state. We alter the state, which means we move from where we are currently to where we want to be. And the moment we move towards where we want to be, yung journey na yan, you're already transforming. You're changing your form. Your physique is changing. Your physiology is changing. Your emotions are changing. There is something in your inner chemistry that's changing. And that's all part of the transformation story.
Why do you think it's hard for people to change, though? Because everybody desires change, diba? We always want to be something else. We have that yearning. However, it's like the biggest struggle change to make that happen in their lives.
I think number one is comfort. Diba? The first needs of human beings are survival and comfort. Anything that makes us get out of our comfort zone, we resist that. So even though from psychology standpoint, we say, I wanted to change, it's all just happening in our minds. The moment we needed to compel our body to move forward and change, it becomes very hard, because that means taking the physical step out of our comfort zone. So it's very hard. You get to your panic zone the moment you get out of your comfort zone. I think that's the first reason why. The second reason is when change is not happening in the inside. When somebody else is asking you to change, we resist that. It has to organically start from inside. So say, for example, we are working in a company, and the company or the business tells us we need to change because we need to actually be aligned with the future, with the disruptions in the future. There is an outside force that's asking us to change. We don't like that, but when we talk about our own inner transformation, and when we start to read books because it makes us change inside, and nobody's compelling us but our own beings, that's when that's when it becomes comfortable to actually step out of the comfort zone. So it has to begin from a place of comfort, so that we don't resist it.
And that's true, right? Like once we're comfortable, once we're in the same kind of conditions, there's no change, and you can only change if you make a choice to change. You do that in a more regular manner. That's why you have to build new habits.
Yes, correct.
So, for example, I'm a guy who's currently not happy with my current situation. However, there's just so much burden in my back from my past, my traumas. There's a lot of encoding in my mind. Na parang this is going to be difficult, and I feel that it's frustrating to change, to make that effort to change. What can we do to start dissociating from the past and from our past, programming?
I think we need to stop falling in love with the emotion connected to that particular event. No? That's trauma. Diba? If you look at trauma, it really is just an event. But the moment we associate it with strong emotions, that becomes trauma. So for us to actually be able to forge forward, we need to dissolve, the emotions involved in the past event. Because there's only one goal of the past, and that is to teach us life lessons. Period. Exclamation point. Wala na siyang ibang.
Right.
But kasi meron tayong tendency, no, as human beings, to actually hold on to the soap opera of our lives and to hold on to that. Parang, no matter how much people are telling us that we need to change, even though no matter how much we are telling ourselves to change, we like to actually hold on to the soap operas of our lives and to justify our actions with these things. And no matter how we fight for all of these limitations, no matter how we tell people this is who I am, at the end of the day, it is you who's not changing. Hello, little girl. That's your daughter.
Yeah, hello. So, she appears from time to time.
Yes, nice. Let her join us, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Her name is Zoe.
Zoe, hello, Zoe. How are you, Zoe?
Hello.
Yun. So I think it's the emotions. No? For us to move forward, we need to be able to, accept that there are emotions that are not productive for us, that will keep us in an unproductive state. And so we need to dissolve that. You use the right word there, Ralph. We need to dissociate from it. And the moment we dissociate from it, we actually take on a third person point of view. We are no longer associated. It's no longer me. We are more objective. We're able to tell ourselves that what we need to do in order for us to forge forward.
That's true. Coach Cherry, ang question ko lang is, how do we unmarry this parang toxic drama in life? Because I think most of the people talaga, they really wanted to hold on, like what you've said, diba? The soap opera of our lives. Number, why do you think we have the tendency to really hold on to that soap opera of our lives? And the second question would be, what are some steps that you could give to us to dissociate that kind of emotion?
I think we hold on to this soap opera, to these emotions, because it gives an explanation to who we are. Diba?
Wow.
Diba, parang, this is who I am, and I am actually, a product of my past. And whatever, the past has a purpose, and the purpose is to make us better people. Diba? So that then everything, walang wasted energy, walang wasted time. Diba? No matter how, for us, we were and that is a life lesson. When we recognize that, and then when we are a little bit more objective, and when we replace this unproductive that can a really useful emotion. We're not saying that the wrong emotions must be thrown away. It just must be collapsed, dissolved. Still part of us. Now we recognize part of our being human is darkness. We recognize part of our being human is actually, our weaker emotions, and that's what makes us vulnerable. But then I think the most important thing is, okay, now I want to make my past useful to me, and so I try and make the useful emotions become bigger, intentionally. So how do you do it? You wake up to replace the anger or the disgust in your life. You make it an intention. How do you do it? There are many, many ways to do it. To teach our minds. Meditation is one. I love meditation because it calms our mind. And, thoughts become things. If we are thinking of the wrong things, the wrong thoughts, we are creating unresourceful, unproductive outcomes, things that are not useful to us. And these are the things that will actually, explain who we are. We are our outcomes. People see our outcomes. Right. People see our behaviors. They don't see our emotions. They don't see our beliefs. We are just giving them clues as we release them and broadcast them in the form of our behavior. So we must be intentional all the time. Intentional living must be intentional.
Right. Yes, that's a really good answer, Cherry. Intentionality definitely is how we could move forward with much more tact and clarity. We are more liable because we know we intentionally made those decisions. And however, a lot of people talaga, they live in autopilot, right?
Yes.
And that autopilot seems to be autopiloting, like it's every day seems to be the same. And when will we stop autopiloting? Like, can we? When are the episodes that makes people wake up?
In fact, Ralph, 95% of our brain is unconscious. That is who we are.
Right.
We are programs. We are a product of our programs. NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. So we cannot change the way we are, our movements are autopilot. However, the conscious effort to make sure that the autopilot is resourceful to us, diba? So that when we wake up, autopilot mo, wow, resourceful, strong emotions. When you're naging autopilot mo, how do you do that? We need to actually become more conscious of our programming. What are the things that are not helping us? And then we try and collapse that and dissolve that and make the stronger emotions become part of our autopilot. How do you autopilot things? No, you start to make it a habit for first 21 days, and then you consistently do it over and over and over again until it becomes unconscious. In fact, diba, if you wanted to achieve mastery, you must be at a level of unconscious competence. You don't know that you are so competent at something. But, if I am in a state of unconscious competence in communication or conversations, perhaps, the moment I open my mouth, I start to actually, there's a buy-in or it's like to actually sell you something, even though I am not intentionally selling something. It means that, my selling skills, my communication skills are at autopilot competence level.
Right.
So we just need to make sure that, our programming is something that's serving our purpose and ecology, which means that we're not hurting the community. We're adding value to the community. And so we must always have regard also for other people, not just ourselves.
Got it. And NLP is very powerful. And to be honest with you, Miss Cherry, I am not very well versed about how the NLP works. Though I've seen a lot of books about it, I felt it's like a whole new paradigm. And for me, what I do for me to change my beliefs, change my conditioning is to, what I do is the manual thing, right? Like meditation and being more self-aware. Why is NLP helpful for a life of a person, and why should we start looking at it?
NLP just makes us understand the psychology and the mechanics behind how we do things and why we do things. So NLP stands for three things, no? And these are the three things that will propel you to achieve outcomes that are favorable to you or unfavorable to you. N is neuro, mindset. So we must take charge of our beliefs. Linguistic is L, no? And it means that, whatever the language that we say, it creates things. You open the right words, you open the right file, and you create the right results. And sometimes a change in one of the words that you use can make people act in, ways that are helpful to both of you or advantageous to both of you. So language is very important, a mastery of communication. And finally, P is programming, which is your behavior. Now, the people, they won't see your beliefs, they will not see your emotions, but they will assess you based on your beliefs. Hence, a lot of societal measures are based on your behavior. Diba? How you're behaving in the company, how you're behaving in the family, how you're behaving in relationships. They will make impressions and they will make conclusions about you. And that's how we are judged. But what we need to understand is that our behavior is programmed by our mindset. And hence, we need to ask ourselves, are we waking up with the right beliefs? Are our beliefs going to expand our behavior so that we are productive and resourceful to other people? It's so important to understand the whole foundational sequence of our muscles, of our movements, so that we would be able to know which buttons to actually adjust so that we could actually be compelling.
Oh my God. This is like when I crack this open NLP, the NLP practice. I think there's so many things that we can apply to our lives. And I'm going to ask you, Coach Cherry, I'm going to tell Shirley Lang to check the community. We already have around 50 people watching us. And it's going up and down. And there's a lot of people who are enjoying this talk so much. Thank you again, Cherry, for being here. before I ask you one one really powerful energy practice, let's ask Muna Shirley. Can you check out the community and let's check out your engagement?
Yan, yes, we have a lot of viewers po. Right now, we have around, nasa 15 na yung nag-watch sa atin ngayon, Ralph and Coach Sherry. We have all the way from Bohol, Chedi, hello. We have also si Diana May, welcome, welcome. Joseph also, ayan si Louie. Louie is also
Hi,
here.
Joseph.
Nice to see you.
And we have also Catherine Yap from Quezon City, and she said
Hello,
she's
Kat.
and of course, si Mommy Meg, nandito din siya all the way from Laguna.
Wonderful, Meg.
Yes,
And again, live from Quezon City also, Miss Jessica Forte, hello. Ayan. Then, Catherine Yap is keep on inviting a lot of people to really hear with Sherry. We have also Sarah Jane. Ayan. Pia, hello. Angeline. So we have also si Al. Ayun. And then,
Ayan, ang dami nila.
Oh,
Andrea,
some of them are people I work with. So thank you so much.
may nakamiss daw po yung boses nyo ni Coach. Namiss daw niya yung boses mo, Coach. Sabi ni Andrea Santos.
Andrea, hello, Andrea. Ayan, nandiyan ka na para pakinggan mo. Open your ears.
We have also
You
from
sing the
Cagayan
Coach?
de Oro. Christine from Cagayan de
Ayan.
Oro. So, ang dami nila.
Ayan, ang dami.
We have also Dasman, we have Ecija, San Juan, Las Piñas also. Yan.
And
So,
you have a super fan from QC.
Oo.
Ayan, guys, in 10 minutes now, we will be asking Coach Cherry your questions. So please, we're going to relay to her your questions. So please put in the comment section your questions. Okay, let's do this. Coach Cherry, ako ngayon, I'm willing to make a change in my life. I want to move forward with much more bravery and intentionality. What specific neuro NLPs can we practice in our lives that you think is effective, that we can start right away?
I think first thing you need to do is to look into your rituals and your routine every day and make it intentional. From the moment that you wake up, you just don't wake up with your body, you wake up with your soul and your spirit. We need to make sure, so we heal that. So the first thing we need to do maybe is to wean ourselves away from gadget first, and take care of ourselves. One of the most important beliefs we have is we need to take care of ourselves. And when taking care of ourselves, we always think in terms of physical sense, which is important. We exercise, diba? We do all of these physical conditioning, tools that we have. But it's also so important to actually do our spirit rituals, prayers, meditation, affirmations, silencing, all of these are important. So we give our spirit the time to actually recombobulate with the body and so that we are feeling stronger. No? And then after that, we of course do our physical strengthening, we do exercise, we could drink water, for example, etc., etc. And then we get on with our routine. So it's very important to actually really look into what you're doing every day so that you are productive. And when I say productive, it is not just work-wise, it could also be productive in your relationships, productive, in your engagements, in your conversations. It is so important to do that. So there are many, many ways to do that. You look at your habits. You ask people, what are the habits that are actually helpful in my engagements and what are the habits, because there are blind spots that we have that I need to change in order for me to actually be better. And then you work on one habit at a time. So there are many, many ways to do it, but we start in small steps. We start in things that are comfortable to us, and then we move, out of our comfort zones and into the brave zones, into the courage zones, so that we're able to actually make meaningful and bigger changes and transformations in our life. But don't go out at once to panic zone, because panic will paralyze us. Example, I want to be a better speaker. And then all of a sudden, you are probably modeling Oprah Winfrey na, and then you're gonna tell yourself, "Oy, parang that kind of excellence, I don't have the codes, so I won't start." So you're starting to actually compare yourself. While it's important to benchmark yourselves against the best, you need to
Right.
also, before I get there, I'm going to go this one first. I'm going to change my physiology. I'm going to work on my nerves. I'm going to work on my language skills. And then I'm going to, try it in small steps. I'm going to give pro bono talks. I'm going
I
to
love
ask
that.
people. If I'm going to ask people and get feedback from them, I'll start with my small circle of safety, influence, of safe influence, people who are willing
Right.
to give feedback and are not just going to be polite to me.
Right.
When you do all of this in small steps and then you just, try and increase that circle of courage, we're able to make bigger changes in our lives that are really more meaningful. But we've got to actually understand we take it in small steps out of our comfort zones.
Right. That is a very good strategy, Cherry, no? Kasi I haven't seen it that way. I totally agree with what you said, that we try to model our heroes, the people that we want to be in the future. For example, Oprah Winfrey, when it comes to her interview style, I check her out and I check how she's very calming and very herself when she talks in interviews. And sometimes what we do is we just mimic directly without learning that this could be broken down into pieces so that
Yes.
we can level up, eventually improve ourselves until we get to a level that that is higher and is much more manageable rather than just directly modeling a person.
Ralph, I want to borrow the word that you use in terms of break it down into parts. No, I like that because it becomes less overwhelming for us. And overwhelm brings us to a state of paralysis. No, we freeze because we're overwhelmed. There's too many things to do. I freeze. I don't even know where to begin. But if you break it down into parts and integrate that, we call that parts integration. No, we integrate the small parts. So right now, I'm going to learn your voice first. I'm going to try and be more resonant in my voice. I'm going to do vocal exercises. Parts first. No? So Kobe Bryant wanted to actually become a great basketball player, but he knew that he wanted to try and be expert in one thing, and one thing alone. For 6 months, all he did was to shoot basketball. He was not practicing how to pass the basketball, how to rebound, but he focused on just one thing and one thing alone, and that is to shoot. And he became, such a master in this particular part of basketball.
Right.
So we break it down into parts and then we integrate this part into our lives. And people will see that because you're going to shine in your difference. You cannot be everything. You cannot be everybody to everyone. But you could be one thing, and that is your one special thing. And so, let's say, for example, when Shirley comes into the room, you become like, I feel your energy. You may not be everything to me. You may not serve me all the needs that I have, but you are a mood changer, and I feel your energy, and I like you for being that. So it's our branding. It's how we are actually making a difference in that. So we cannot be everything. We are, we choose on a particular aspect on where we want to be an expert in, and then we shine and become brilliant in our difference.
That's right.
I want to stress that point, and I think that's very powerful, Cherry, when you said that you can shine in your own difference, because that is exactly also what we are propagating through our platform, NBU, that you could be the highest version of who you already are. We aspire to be many things. Can we be the perfect this and perfect that?
That's
Eventually disregarding our true nature. And our goal is to be the highest expression of who we are.
Yes.
And
to be more of ourselves, diba? To be more of who we are. We already have that. We were born and we were hardwired to be awesome, to be brilliant. And when we were young, we understood that.
Yes.
We like to merchandise ourselves. We do things. We are a little bit, we are risk takers, sometimes reckless. We don't overthink. And then, there is society that tells us, you need to actually behave. There are certain norms that we have to follow. And because of that, we started to grow new fears. We started to develop new fears. And these are all, fantastical retellings of something that's not true. And all of these fears, fear of embarrassment, fear of failing, fear of, if I get into some level of success, will I be seen as special? So many new fears that come into us and that prevent us from being the awesome that we were truly born to become.
And I think
I love that so much.
Sobrang ganda nung sinabi mo kanina na you can shine in your indifference. Sometimes kasi yung pagiging weirdo parang feeling natin it's something na kailangan nating i-hide. But I think like what you've said, it's something pala na pwedeng yan yung magpa-shine sa'yo. So you really have to dig deep in
Yeah.
your and know yourself more for you to be more valuable to the community that you serve. So yeah, I really love that. And yeah, Ralph, I think we have here a question which I think very timely then from our audience. Ito from Miss Catherine Yap. So if you're ready, Coach Cherry, can we answer this? Sabi niya, how do we move on from this ECQ thing? Because some people might still be afraid, which I think it's valid. I think ito talaga yung nararamdaman ng mga tao because of the ECQ. So how do we brave ourselves to march on to march it on with our everyday lives since medyo nangangapa pa from the lockdown?
I think fear is coming from from uncertainty. There is something that was lost as a result of this COVID thing happening, and that is content. And the lost content is I am no longer in control of my situation. You get out, you try and put on your PPE, something happens, you catch the virus, you get sick, and we get, very scared of that. So because and not being in control is a very valid fear. You don't like things to spin out of your control. You want to be able to manage everything. And so how do we move from this ECQ, I think, is number one, to make sure that we don't just keep listening to, to retellings, to, fantastic hearsay, and believe that, because that actually grows the fear. Diba?
Right.
Somebody tells you if you wear shorts, for example, that you will catch the virus. It's fantastic. You tend to, it's hearsay, you believe it. And then somebody says, do you know that there is a study that said 50% of those who are wearing shorts are actually catching the virus? Or maybe your neighbor starts to catch virus because she's wearing shorts. This is fantastic, but we tend to believe that. And it sort of grows the fear. And right now, we need to at least, the content that we want is, I can take charge of some of the things that I can control. And one of the things we could take charge is our emotion. Diba? We what should replace this fear? Fear is important. Without fear, we would have died, we would not have stayed on this long. Fear protects us, but it's also very important we don't get frozen, or, we don't say bye-bye and fly away because we are afraid. Instead, there must be courage. We step in, we protect ourselves. We do also another kind of PPE, hindi lang physical protection equipment, is psychological protection equipment, which means we are also protecting our psychology. We are protecting our mind so that we are able to connect in a different way, on a different level to the people. So we sort of give a little bit of certainty to some things that are really very uncertain. And we just get out. There is a lot of fear from people who have stayed in their houses for 2 months compared to those people who are doing the deliveries who are there every day. So iba yung level ng fear, no?
Right.
There are people who could connect more because they're so used to connecting to people because they're still doing their business outside. But all of us here who were stationed to stay in our own homes, we are afraid to step out. The first foot that will actually get our bodies out of our own homes, is actually very crucial. And when we get back to our offices, the moment when the door, those very seconds and minutes when the door of the office starts to open, that is actually very potent. Our people, the workforce, needed to see a group of leaders who are confident, who will turn your confusion into confidence and level of certainty. So it is so important how we respond to all of these things, because our life needs to channel back to some level of normalcy. Our economy is already, we don't know if ECQ is going to be lifted on May 15, May 16, right? We could at best prepare for that and start to plan for that and make sure we protect not just our physical bodies, but also our psychology and our minds.
That's true. That's true. There's this thing about fear, Miss Cherry, that I think we need to. I want to dig deeper on this, because fear, you're correct that it is indeed protecting us from things that it alarms us, right? For things that are not certain, we don't understand what it is. So, however, fear also stagnates us and it stops us, and we understand that it's just how we're wired, and what we could do is to dissociate from that fear. And however, it's still constant. It's always there. What can we do? For example, there's someone that I talked to prior to this conversation, and there's this new path that the person wants to take because he is a bit dissatisfied about his current state now because he's achieved so much that he felt, I think I need to move on to another thing. And that new path, that new future that he's looking forward to is totally new, and he's fearful because the new it needs new skill sets. What can we do if we want to move on from this pandemic and we want to create a new future? For us to predict the future, you have to build it. However, there's fear, and this fear is very vague. What can we do now to break it down or to dissolve it so that we are more brave and courageous in our lives?
I think we need to actually strengthen our courage muscles. Courage
Right.
means in the gut. Diba? That is the highest skill of our gut. And our guts have neurons. Kaya nga when we say, I'm feeling butterflies in my stomach, these are your nerves, your neurons. And when they're acting and they're telling your body you're not ready. So let's say, for example, you wanted to, you're saying make a change in your life. You're feeling something's moving in your stomach because these are your courage muscles telling you, parang you're not yet ready. So how do you actually prepare for that? Because if in your gut resides self-preservation and identity. That is where it is there. So self-preservation protects you. You will be embarrassed if you will fail. It's a violation of your safety. And so you need to make sure that you're taking care of your gut. How do you do that? Before you even bring the decision to the gut, you need to have assessed it and negotiated with your heart and your head. Your head will provide you the logic. Your heart will make it resonant to your values and to your relationships with people. And when the heart and the head are aligned, and then the decision now goes to the gut, if there is synergy, then the butterflies in your stomach are going to actually be managed and you're going to move forward. Because yes, I'm going to step out of my comfort zone. I am afraid, but there is something that is actually stronger. This is my need to create. You cannot create in your own comfort zones, diba? So something is actually expanded and bigger than the fear. Why? Because you know that the head says it's right, the heart says it's okay, it's right to move forward, and the gut that negotiates the courage is actually telling you little steps. Make little steps. So somebody wants to change his career and you feel, for example, you're not ready, you try and work on the skills that you need. You start by reading books. There's so many things online right now that's being provided to us to actually make us expand our intelligence. You do little things that will actually try and make the uncertainty a little bit smaller. There will always be uncertainty around us, but we try and manage that by providing information. Diba? By looking for the information. And it's so important that we are not reckless. They're encouraged kasi there's recklessness and there's arrogance. Diba? There's, mayabang ka, diba? Parang, diba? You need that. You need a little of that because without this level of arrogance and this level of recklessness, you cannot take risks. Diba?
Yes.
You will always rationalize it and you will always want to be comfortable in your feelings. So you need to be bolder so that you could create new things. There is opposing new energy. There is the energy to just stay in your comfort zone. It's very calming, it's very comfortable, it's very safe. And there's this opposing energy to actually innovate and create and reinvent yourself. And important that you're able to actually put it in the same zone, that it is not in conflict with each other. One serves to protect you and one serves to actually raise you higher and make you bigger. And so they are actually helping each other. These are all helpful emotions. And we should not get frustrated with ourselves when we experience this kind of, this emotions, no? This array of emotions inside us. They're just helping us, and we need to be able to negotiate and say, this is the bigger emotion that's needed right now, and try and dissolve the smaller emotions that's not productive for you right now.
Right. You know what? This is a whole new, perspective on how the synergy of the heart, the heart, the mind, and your gut, and how
True.
they work together for you to advance in life. That was a big aha moment sa akin when the heart and the mind are in the same place, when
Right.
when they're agreeing, when the
Yeah.
values are reflecting to the ideas that you have, and they're now resonating. And now it's your boldness, your courage that asks you to move forward. And now they all come together, and there's nothing to fear because these are already reconciled. And I love that way of looking at this, Cherry. Is it possible, ba,
These
Cherry?
are,
Yes. Yes, go ahead, Cherry.
I wanted to say that the heart, the head, and the gut, these are the three most important organs in decision making.
Mm.
Kasi sabi natin, masyado kasi heart overhead ka, you're not thinking. Your heart is an organ that has neurons. It has neurons, it's connected. All of these three things are connected to each other. And so we need to make sure that, in fact, we consult the heart in the decision-making process 3 times. The foundational sequence is, if you want to make a decision, you start with the heart,
That's
which means
so
you
good.
start with your values. Diba?
Yes.
Ang values don't reside in the head. If the values are residing in the head, it becomes an academic exercise. You're not feeling it. It's not being embodied. So the values reside in the heart. Is this consistent with my values? And then after that, if the heart says yes, you bring the decision-making process up there in the head. I want to see the past. I want to see, the historical patterns. I want to see if it is logical. Making meaning, producing the codes, the language, they all exist in the head. And before you even go to the gut, you go back to the heart and consult, is this going to hurt my family? Is this going to hurt other people? Because relationship, exists in the heart. It's not in the head. You cannot rationalize relationship. You can only feel it. Diba? So it must go back to the heart before the decision-making process descends down to your intestines, to your feet, to your gut. And then the gut will say, let's move. And before you even move, because the gut is a place where your identity resides. It's going to ask you, is this who you are? Because, Ralph, you were saying, you need to actually become more of who you are, not another person. If your gut is telling you this is not who you are, it's the right thing, but that's not who you are. That's not your branding. That's not, that's not consistent with your inner game. And then you're going to actually be afraid. But you're saying, this is who I am. And then you go back to the heart, you consult the heart again, tama ba siya? And then you move forward. So it's always the heart, the head, the heart, the gut, then the heart, and that completes the entire decision-making process. Those are the complete organs in making decisions.
I like that. Alam mo, Shirley, one of the things na by the way, you're on fire, Miss Cherry. Your ideas earlier that you shared are very good and it's very fresh for me, and something I'd like to really dig in deeper, because that is true. This three needs to connect. Nangyari lang, masyado lang naglalag si gut, no? Itong ating courageous part of us. Naglalag siya. Lagi na lang tayo dito lagi. Oo.
And kaya ang word na analysis paralysis, di ba? You are paralyzed because you're analyzing things too much. Why? Because you refuse to bring the decision-making process to your gut. Di ba? So, when it's time to move, you stop thinking, you stop overthinking, and you start doing nothing. I mean, ideas from the cheapest commodity if you don't actually support it with the muscles.
That's
diba?
right.
So you need to support it with the muscles. We call it in NLP somatic. It has to actually be done. It has to actually, you need to move. The muscles are so important. People are so strong in head decisions, but are so weak at gut decisions, at the movement. And that's why we have the saying, walk the talk. Diba? You're walking the talking. You don't just talk, you're moving. You follow leaders because of their example, not because of just the words that they're saying or the they're thinking. Diba? So it's so important to do that. Pero ang sarap ng feeling na complete mo yung process mo at pag nag-move ka, kahit mag-fail ka, then it's a feedback to you. It's a feedback. Something went wrong in the head, heart, gut. May mali ba sa behavior mo? Tama naman yung head, tama naman yung heart, pero hindi tugma yung result sa intention mo, then maybe there is something wrong in your behavior. Then you know how to actually correct, you self-correct, you self-adjust, you ask for feedback. So there is actually no failure, it's all feedback, and that is the role of the past. The moment you move forward, everything else behind you is already called the past. Diba? And the role of the past, you don't put over emotions. You don't try and become emotional about the past. You try and look back and say, okay, what can I learn from this so that my next move is actually, better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Our pasts are good signposts on how we could move forward. They're good feedback.
Yes.
Also, yeah. And I think yun siguro yung reason, Ralph, no, kung bakit ang daming mga tao na minsan meron silang mga life decisions na parang hindi tugma, na parang kasi hindi pala nagtutugma, hindi aligned yung tatlo, the body, the heart, and the gut. Which I think is very important na ngayon, when we decide in every aspect of our lives, it's important to consider these three things and they need to be aligned. Para kung sabi nga ni Coach Cherry kanina, kung magkamali ka man, mag-failed ka man, at least, masarap pa rin sa pakiramdam yung failure.
Yes,
and
diba?
That's true.
You're gonna do it as part of your lessons.
Parang ano lang yan, di ba? Shirley, kunwari, let's say, for example, you want to make a family decision and then you've actually gathered your resources, gathered your family members and said, it's going to be our decision. When it succeeds, it feels good because everybody has emotional buy-in. Before you even get that is called our outside game, no? But we also play an inner game. We have resource councils inside of us. There's a whole committee of people inside us. The head, the heart, the gut are all part of your committee. And so, ang sarap ng feeling if you actually venture forward and the entire body is aligned. We call it congruence. Congruent ka. So then parang you're feeling, parang may emotional buy-in, no? May buy-in lahat ng parts ng body. Ang sarap ng feeling. No? You're going to move back more because of that.
Yeah.
And I totally agree on that. When you say congruency, and I love that word very much, it's because it's not the parts of you are no longer disaligned. That's actually the best form of authenticity. Kasi ako, surely naniniwala ako, when you're authentic, you also need to be courageous. It doesn't have to be you have good intentions and you have a good heart, that everything works together. Authenticity means as well that you are open to express that authenticity, so that people can see you and your values can be seen and your and what you want to do can be seen. And that is the missing part, I think, for a lot of people. And thank you very much for sharing light on that.
Add, Ralph, you mentioned authenticity. Diba? Part of authenticity is actually vulnerability. You cannot be authentic if you keep actually guarding your emotions. I'm emotionally void. Now, there are some people who will say, I'm emotionally void. You cannot actually see through me. Diba? Pero they're probably seeing you as a strong person, but they're not seeing you as authentic. Because being authentic means you're vulnerable. And you're saying authenticity is actually a result of all of your parts being incongruent. And that part includes the heart. So which means that if you wanted people to see who you are, the heart must be exposed. And it's so important to do that. And you must be willing to be vulnerable. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you even stronger. That makes you even more likable. And that's the reason why when we, in NLP, for example, when we connect with people, it's so important that we show our body such that the heart is actually aimed at the person that you are talking to. Our heart has an electromagnetic field that will beam at a distance of 2 to 3 meters. Ibig sabihin kung ano yung nasa heart ko. If my heart is evil, diba, lahat ng people within 2 to 3 meters are feeling my evilness. Na-affect mo sila. Pero kung you're compassionate and you're kind, diba, and you understand people, you have empathy, lahat ng people within 2 to 3 meters can feel that. And that is called heart rhythm. That is the rhythm of your heart. If you wanted to actually have total full well-being that's healthy, it's very important that you have coherent heart rhythm with the people around you, and that's how we build communities. Diba? Parang we talk about like-minded people in the community. In reality, it is like-minded in the heart, like-minded in your values.
That's right.
And it's important.
Go, sure. Very like what you've said, no? Your vulnerability when exposed to other people, there's a lot of people that can also relate to you.
Yes, you become relatable, di ba? You don't, parang hindi ka lang tinitingala ng gano'n. So parang, if they want to copy you, mas madali ka i-comprehend kasi parang you're human being eh. Di
Yeah.
ba? Parang you're not being somebody who you think cannot be achieved because I diba, very guarded. Kumbaga parang naka-hazmat, naka-PPE, di mo makita yung heart niya. Di ba? Kumbaga PPE tayo, nakabukas yung heart natin para kitang-kita yung open your jacket a little bit so that people can see the heart. That is so important in making genuine connections.
Yes, that's right.
And now, everything is going to be remote, everything is going to be digital right now. How do you make genuine connections? How do you actually, how do I feel you, Shirley and Ralph, so that I don't see machine in front of me, but I see people and relating to people. It's how you're actually, making them feel your emotions. So there must be some emotional connection.
That's true. Oh my God. I think that past 10 minutes is really powerful, and very heavy on value. And eye-opener indeed. Ang dami ko nalaman. Surely, let's ask some of our guys, if you are learning a lot, which we are in this episode, please put in the comment section, I'm learning Miss Cherry, or I'm learning Cherry. Okay, I'm learning a lot, Cherry. Put that in the comment section so that our author can see, our guest can see it. Can you share some of that, Shirley?
Actually, Ralph, meron ngang mga nagko-quote na rin, and I think it's very powerful, no, yung talk ni Coach Cherry, kasi sila mismo nagkakaroon na ng sarili nilang realization on the talk. So that's a good way of reflecting ngayon. Oo. And I think meron lang tayong isang question dito, Ralph, which I think na-experience din to ng lahat ng tao because of what's happening. So parang si Al Postrado saying po that there's a lot of people struggling to sleep at night now because of the uncertainties and maybe because of the anxieties. So can you share the best thing to do to improve our sleep?
I think it's very important to bring your energy from high energy to low energy before you sleep. So which means that it's probably not right to sleep, to watch Netflix and to bombard our senses, when our senses are actually heavily bombarded with all of these external things around us, and then we sleep. So parang the mind is not calm, the heart is, agitated, so many things happening around us. So when we believe, for example, that we take care of the head, the heart, the gut, we need to make sure that it is actually ready and prepared to take the next important intervention for us, which is called sleep. Diba? We also guard our sleep. So we try and, do things that are spirit, that feeds our spirit. Like we do prayers, we do gratitude journal, we meditate, we do silencing. 5 minutes of silencing is important before we go to sleep. So which means our body is prepared for that, and our brain waves going to actually move from beta to alpha to theta to delta, where we are actually going to enjoy ourselves in deep sleep, like we sleep like a baby. And the belief must be tomorrow is going to be another day. Brilliant day, clean slate for us. We're going to attack it with enthusiasm. If we keep thinking of the fear, we are making fear resides in our imagination. A lot of fear is fantastic. A lot of fear is imaginative. The moment we feed it, it becomes bigger. It might, show up in our dreams called nightmares. We don't like that because nightmares will actually begin our day unwell. Right? Even though you've forgotten the nightmare, there's something, na parang nag-languish ka in an unproductive emotion you cannot understand because there was something that appeared in your dream. So we don't like that. We want to sleep like a baby, and so we take care of our spirit before we sleep. And then we always believe that tomorrow is another day to begin right. I may not have the information now. This lack of information is okay. Everybody else is going through the same thing. This is a moment of vulnerability for everyone else. And in this period of uncertainty that we are experiencing now, we are actually feeling united and together. Diba? It's a moment to strengthen families, a moment to strengthen, your relationship with your teams, because everyone else, the bosses, the middle managers, the rank and files, it's the same fear that's actually, inside us. It's actually the great equalizer. What has happened now is it has made people become on equal footing. We're experiencing the same primal energy, and we trust. We trust the wake, we trust the government, we trust our leaders in the company that they will do everything that they can within their power and resources to make things a little bit safe for us. They also don't know answers to that. But, in all of this uncertainty, we become united and bonded together as one team. And that is the power of culture, in this opposing energy our culture is being tested. Our relationships with each other, our connections with each other is being tested. And it's important that we are able to actually respond to this as higher beings,
Right.
and not to respond to it in a very primal way where we are just in a fight or flight situation.
That's so true. I would agree on that, Cherry. You can one thing that you can do. What I learned from what you said is what we can do for us to really have lesser anxieties. I guess is that you can look at what's happening in a third person point of view, where you can see that maybe this is part of the bigger plan for us to reshape how humanity is unfolding, and maybe there's a new direction that we are all going. And with that, when you put yourself outside from that equation, you get to understand this bigger in a macro level. And in the inner level, in the inner game, what you said earlier about gratitude, I love that very much, because that's been what I've been doing the past days, Cherry. When gratitude and fear come together, they cannot live in the same room. And gratitude can help you bring peace into yourself, because you understand that there are blessings in your life, and knowing what to separate from yourself, which are the things that you cannot control, you can better navigate your day.
I
And
like
that's
what you said about gratitude. Gratitude is the highest form of intelligence, because the moment you're in a state of gratitude, you stop thinking of yourself and you start thinking of other people, and that is
amen.
Yeah. Right.
that is the higher person. We start to actually not make it all about ourselves and start thinking we're thankful, we're grateful for something. So gratitude is a very good replacement emotion for fear. I'm grateful that I am breathing right now. I'm grateful that I am alive. So we are
Right.
afraid we will die, but right now I'm grateful for all the senses that are still working and functioning in me. And that is enough for now.
Wow.
And to better operate that, I just stress this because I think this is powerful before we go on to another, is that when you're in gratitude, that is a certain frequency. When you said it's the highest form of intelligence, when you're in gratitude, it's as if like you're in a different state, where it's like you're a happy state, you're in an open state. And once that happens, I hope people can, what they can pick from this is that you do not respond to what's happening and feel grateful eventually when it feels right. You don't have to feel right to feel grateful. It's a muscle you can build yourself. You can be grateful more and more, so that you can have lesser anxieties and really feel their surrender. Not letting maybe having more relationship with what's happening. Is
Yeah,
did I get that? No.
definitely correct. We are programmed to actually feel anxiety sometimes. So in little things, we become anxious when we're going on a date, or become anxious what to wear today. There are subtleties of anxiety, and we are generating these emotions every day in our lives. It is okay. I think the most important thing is, may levels din kasi ang fear. Diba? It starts with trepidation, and then may anxiety. Pero just make sure that we check our emotions so that they don't go to panic, they don't go to horror, they don't to terror. These are the extreme forms of fear that we don't want, because it will paralyze us and we will not be able to fulfill our higher manifestations as human beings. And I think I like what you said. In order to do that, we replace this anxiety with gratitude. We always think of, yes, I am anxious, but what am I grateful for? I'm grateful because I have clothes to wear. Even though I'm anxious about what to wear, I still have options to actually think about. So we need to keep on rechanneling and reprogramming our mind, and it's a conscious effort. I go back to intentions. It must be intentional all the time.
I love that. Okay, before we go to the last few questions, surely one question coming from the community, and maybe let's recognize some of them watching.
Yeah. Sige, we have another question here, Coach Cherry, from Catherine Yap. So how come some people take longer time to decide? Does that mean that one of the brain is hindering it? If yes, which brain?
Maybe it's because you're taking too long to stay in an organ when it is no longer the role of that organ to perform it. You're feeling too much.
So good.
You're either feeling too much, you're thinking too much, or you're doing too much of everything is actually excess, diba? So you need to tell yourself, okay, what is now the function that's needed? The function that's needed is actually to put together, to make things logical. You go up to the brain, to the head brain, diba? What is the most important thing and the most compelling thing right now? It's other people. You go to the heart. You need to know where the role of each particular organ, so that, and don't stay in that too long.
Right.
And we need to demystify decision making. The reason why we are in a decision fatigue is because sometimes there's just so many options. Kaya nga, di ba, si Mark Zuckerberg, what he did was he made sure he's just wearing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Isa lang niyang suot. Bakit? Sabi niya, pag gising ko sa umaga, I don't like to actually be faced with decision fatigue because I want to reserve to things that are going to make a big difference in my business and to the life of other people. And choosing my wardrobe, my clothing right now is not the best use of my decision-making power. So you have decision fatigue if you have so many options. Netflix provide you. Ano kayang Korean movie ang panonoodin ko ngayon? Hindi mo alam, ang dami-dami, di ba? So nagkakaroon ka ng decision fatigue.
So let's
take 1 hour to choose.
Oo, that's
diba?
right.
Kung may 3 choices lang yan, di tapos na, di nag-enjoy ka na, instead of spending 10 minutes deciding, just actually choosing. So it's very important to know what are the decisions that you need to make and what are some of the things that you just need to surrender to and not anymore make, invest your energy into it. Decision making is expensive in energy. And so we try and make our energies efficient by putting it in things where it is needed most.
That's right.
Wow, that's so good. That's so good. I haven't seen it that way. You know what, Shirley? I'll tell you, to be honest, it's like I've read a lot of books and I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube, and they tell to us a lot of of things that we already know. However, these ones that I just learned on the past hour, most of them are fresh ideas, and these are really good for people to equip themselves with this idea so that they can better navigate their lives with synchronicity of your mind, your heart, and your gut. I've never seen it that way. Thank you very much, Coach Cherry, for sharing that. Yes, thank you. Shirley, maybe last hello sa mga mga people who's watching.
Sila ngayon.
2 minutes before we wrap it up.
They have a lot of things na natutunan, no? So, sabi dito ni Diana May Diaz, the energy you release is the energy you invite, which I think that's also true. No, and then we have also here, and ang daming nagsabi din, Coach Cherry, na I'm learning a lot, Coach. So, and then si Riza, our guest speaker yesterday, she said, fear resides in our imagination, which is super duper true. I think super duper din siya nag-agree din sa sinabi mo, Coach Cherry. And of course, ito, kinote din si Coach Cherry kanina ni Louie, Meg, and sabi niya, gratitude is the highest form of intelligence. So, and of course, meron din dito si Miss Harriet, amazing topic, the attitude of gratitude we should automate to live meaningfully and joyfully. And I think, Ralph, we have one question over here from Louie, which I think very relevant also, no? Kasi a lot of people talaga has this, parang yung mga excess baggages coming from the past. So the question here of Louie is, sometimes that we're too emotional about our past that it paralyzes you. It paralyzes your present. So what tool daw can we apply? And these sandbags or the excess baggages from the past that we cannot let go. How to let go of those excess baggages, Coach?
This is called gani sacking, when we actually try and put together things that are not helpful and unresourceful to us. You put it in a sack and then you bring it with you. So in essence, who I am right now appearing in front of you includes all my emotional baggage. So minsan parang mabigat siyang kasama, di ba? Or ang gaan-gaan kasama. So these are all metaphors that we use to describe a person because the aura or the vibrations of that person makes you feel that way. So then it becomes intentional. It's important it becomes intentional on our part because we want to be likable, di ba? Because likability is part of connection, and we need as human beings to connect to people, is to be lightweight. Diba? Heavyweight tayo in terms of our ideas, heavyweight tayo in terms of how we add values, pero lightweight tayo in terms of the energy that we give. Ang gaan-gaan mo kasama. So we try and we move consciously every day, we empty ourselves. I like to call it emptying. That you ask yourself at the end of the day, what were the things that you did that were not helpful to you, and then you empty it so that you sleep with an empty
Right.
mind. You're a complete empty slate. When you wake up, you're ready to fill your vessel again, and which is called your body with new things, and that's how you do it. The other thing I wanted to share, Louis, is I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Sa Harry Potter, meron tinatawag na spell na ridiculous ata or something like that, which means that when there is a huge fear in front of you, you try and make it ridiculous. So when there is a past, you try and approach it with humor, with lightweightedness, no? Something happens to you, you look at, ano yung nakakatawang portion? Ano yung parang message niya sa akin in a very light-hearted way so that I don't make it too heavy on my part. So you try and put a spell to the past and make it a little bit more humorous. I think that's a nice way to spin something that's actually creating a heavy toll on your emotions and in your body to make it a little bit lightweight.
Yeah.
Diba? So it's also important to find the humor in the message, the humorous message in all of these things happening to us.
And I think, Coach Cher, it's very important
Okay.
that you have to let go of these baggages because I think sometimes parang ito yung nagpapahirap sa'yo to move forward to your goal eh. Diba? Parang ito yung humahatak sa'yo pababa. So that's why you have to know those kind of past that you have to let go so that you can move forward more freely.
And we need to actually try and make the past smaller. We try to embellish the past so much. Para tayong directors and producers, and showrunners of our past. We try and look at the events and then live our life with joy. C.S. Lewis said that the moment you've experienced joy in your life, you want to repeat it. There are 5 core emotions, and one of the emotions is sadness. And we have a tendency, and sadness, out of the 5 emotions, meron siyang capacity, meron siyang strong ability, unique ability to stretch for a long period of time. So we feel sadness and then we stretch it. And the moment we stretch it, pag lumalaki yan, it becomes sometimes a serious illness, and we call it depression. Diba? Yan ang trait ng sadness eh. Now, if we try and replace it with joy, even though out of the 5 core emotions, 4 are negative and only 1 is positive, and that is joy. But then joy is something that repeats itself, that you would want to repeat itself. So now we replace our belief. It is no longer sadness that is addicting. It is actually joy that is addicting. And so I want to keep repeating this joyful moment. Kaya nga sinasabi nila, in order for your heart to be strong, remember the heart has electromagnetic field that beams for 2 meters. In order for your heart to be strong, you need to replay, cherish memories and relive the emotions there. Those are the emotions we need to visit. The happy emotions, the joyful events in our lives, and we repeat it and we anchor it. In NLP, we have a tool where we keep anchoring it. We keep on thinking of the emotions of the past, so it strengthens us. So,
I love that.
demystify a little bit the sadness and let it go away and just expand the happiness. We are wired to be joyful.
That's so
I
true.
agree.
And then I agree as well. And also, Coach, if we forgive people in the past, it also cuts the rope that sticks us with that kind of past. When you forgive it nawawala na the diffusing energy of hatred and wishing it could have been something else. And that's so true.
You serve yourself more, Ralph. And forgiveness is more for yourself than for others because it means that you become light.
That's so true. Okay, let's wrap this up, Shirley. Grabe, it's already an hour. Pero parang feel ko, it's been 30 minutes lang learning from Coach kasi sobra ako
nito.
Yes. Guys, we're wrapping this up. Please put in the comment section. Thank you, Coach Cherry. And so that our coach, our guest could see that later on and could see that you've been there, and one way for us to express our gratitude to her. Shirley, is there anything you'd like to say, Cherry? Shirley?
No, I think our viewers really express their gratitude to Miss Cherry. A lot of quotable quotes here in the comment section. Like what we have here is kay Louie Den. Sabi niya dito, when faced with fears and negative emotions, I'll just wave my hand and shout, ridiculous.
Yes, go do that, Louie.
Very empowering session.
I love that. Ridiculous.
Oo, di ba? Parang pagka may negative emotion, ridiculous.
It's a ridiculous twist of fate that, it's trying to conspire. The energies outside is trying to conspire to bring out the best in us. So are you going to know the best in you or the worst in you when you're actually in a moment of panic or frantic or anxiety? That is actually, that reveals a lot about your character. And is what we have, our character. We guard it.
And then, yes. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
I know. Sorry, nawawala ako, Coach. And you know what, Coach? I think what's really great about having that kind of perspective about the trauma or those negative emotions is that we are not our thoughts. So we just associate ourselves with our thoughts because we thought it's us. But then the moment that, because we realize it's not us, it's just a thought, we can put, we can say ridiculous. We can degrade its
You can
nature.
change it. Yeah, that's right.
It's just a humorous twist of events.
Exactly. Guys, it's very sad that we have to wrap this up. Please put in the comment section. Thank you, Coach Cherry, if you've enjoyed this, if you've learned a lot. And we will wrap this up by asking our guest speaker this last question. Okay? What any last words? Hindi siya question pala. It's an instruction. Coach, anything you'd like to share before we end this interview?
I just want to say thank you for bringing me to your world. I like it. I was just telling Louis in the last interview, who brought me to your world, is that we all belong to each other's communities and to each other's world. I think, as I mentioned a while ago, this uncertainty that we're feeling right now is a wonderful time for us to pause for a while and to actually feel bonded by this, to be closer to each other, to be united. No, united we stand, although socially distanced. I'm gonna state thank you for. I'll borrow that word from you, Ralph, which you've been consistently saying. I'm in a state of gratitude. Thank you so much for inviting me here, so that I could at least share a little portion of what. Of how I'm perceiving all of these things happening to us, and maybe hopefully it adds value to the lives of other people as we prepare ourselves to go back and to go back to normalcy, and start to innovate and reinvent ourselves and start to create new things. The world has never in our history has the energies of the world conspired to create this kind of circumstance happening in us. And so this is no longer a role play. This is no longer a simulation. This is a real thing that's happening to us. And when we talk about breakthrough is that one moment in our lives where we are able to actually channel the impossible to become possible. This is now this moment to be breakthrough. Diba? Kasi lahat ng mga forces around us, telling us, if we survive this, if we thrive here, and if we win from our home, work from home, if we win from our home, we are breaking through. So, kailan pa tayo mag-breakthrough kung di ito na?
That's
Diba? So it's a wonderful opportunity, it's a magical opportunity for us. So create things, to thank people around us, to love people more, to generate collaborations, so many opportunities in front of us. There's no better time.
Amen. There's no better time indeed for us to truly be human, and to win this war against what's happening. There's so much more that we could be if we stay united with other people. And I love, oh my gosh, Cherry, ang lakas ng energy mo na ako na parang sasabog ngayon Kaya pala you're bragged.
Fire.
You're definitely.
Yes. Really, her flame resonates to each and everyone.
Yes, imagine each other. If we see each other live, I think talagang, sasabog tayo. So maybe this is the way of the world to say, let's try and save our energies for our people around your world who need you. So thank you so much for spreading this positivity. The world needs you both right now. And the work that you're doing, it's really compelling. So
thank you.
I hope to add all our powers together so we could fight the germs around.
That's so true. Another experience.
Yeah. In the NBU 2021, I hope she can join us. That would be a very powerful thing talaga.
I'd love to invite Coach Cherry. Guys, hindi ko to pinipressure si Coach Cherry pero ako, I'm impressed myself. If you want her in, please put in the comment section. Please, Coach Cherry, okay?
Oh, join us in 2021 in
I'd like to
NBU.
invite you to our world, Cherry, and I'd like to be also join your world. I want to see how I want to be coached by you. I could ask you later. How can I learn from you?
Yes, I think there's also some viewers that's asking how to connect
How can they
with
contact? Yeah.
Cherry. And do you have any webinars that you're planning to do, or any trainings that you're planning to do maybe after the ECQ, or just how can we just connect with you, Coach Cherry?
I am part of an amazing, generous world together with a lot of generous, NLP coaches with me. The name of the organization is World Stage International. So they can find us in Facebook or through the web. My full name is Cherry Africa. You could also connect with me by Facebook. You could reach out to me. My email is cherry@worldstageinternational.com.ph. That's how you could connect with us. In terms of webinars and everything, we're trying to organize some webinars. We're also working with people like you to just try and spread the news and try and work with your community so we could spread this molecules of generosity, and we could make this world a better place to live in. We are doing a lot of work with teams. We are forging teams right now more than ever. Culture is so important, so that we unite, we harness this happening to us and try to build cultures. So that's what we're also doing. We're trying to organize our own PPEs, psychological protective equipment, to prepare the people in the workforce to try and lessen the anxiety and uncertainty, and try and reframe their minds and provide them new context to everything. We're doing a lot of work here. We're doing a lot of back end work, and we're very visible online also, so they can just find us.
Right. Guys, please go and check out World Stage International, and please definitely follow Cherry, Coach Cherry, in her journey, in her platform. Let's learn more from her. Check her out in her upcoming webinars. I think, guys, this will definitely enrich your life. Ako mismo, I'm astounded because I'll be honest with you, a lot of the things that I've been learning before are medyo recycled na, and these are definitely new materials that we could use into our arsenal. We need new tools if you want to grow further, because the current tools, it has helped us to be at this point. But to grow further, we need new mentors, new ideas, and new insights that will definitely enrich us and make us bolder in our lives. Last question, I know, Shirley, what did you learn from Coach Cherry's talk?
Ay, grabe, Ralph. Sobrang dami. But first, let me thank Coach Cherry. Coach Cherry, I'm so grateful to meet you. And I thank the Lord for your life. You're blessed with this kind of talents, that you're really a very inspiring woman. So ako siguro, Coach Cherry, yung nabigay mo sa akin na learning today, it's all about being grateful, living with a grateful heart, and intentional living. It's very important that when you make decisions, you really have to align your heart, your brain, and your guts, so that it would truly show you the real I am. Kasi siguro kapag hindi siya aligned, doon talaga nagkakaroon ng parang hindi mo alam kung sino ka. Kasi baka mamaya itong brain mo parang feeling niya, kasi afraid lang ako to be judged by these people. Kaya ito yung gusto mong gawing decision making. But you know in your heart, hindi yun yung gusto mo. So don't be afraid to be judged by other people. As long as you're aligned, then you're good. Kasi I think your vulnerability, your being you as you are, your I am, it's either people will not gonna love you or not love you. That's only two things. And I think yung magiging maganda lang doon is that if people doesn't love you for who you are, then it help you to become a better person. At least mababawasan yung toxic na mga tao sa paligid.
One last thing I wanted to add here is, at the moment we have committed ourselves to become the best version of ourselves, we should be ready to be judged by the world. The moment you say, I am here, this is my best version, you are actually putting yourself out in the world stage for people to judge you. It is okay. Great people, awesome people are not afraid to be judged. It's okay. It's all part of the challenges, and the feedback that we will get. So it's wonderful. I'm going to invite you both, Ralph and Shirley, when we become more normal, to join me in fire walking. We do fire walking.
I will.
I would love to. I'm gonna cancel everything.
Don't know yet. definitely we are gonna do a viral walk and invite both of you. Tumawid kayo sa Apoy with us. It's a wonderful time to actually just
Wow.
share,
I
our
love that.
higher level of community and fire.
And
We're really
fire.
looking forward to that. Let's do that, Ralph, together, okay?
Yes, I will. I will. I want to experience more things. And there's so much. You know what's great about this kind of conversations? As we wrap this up, what I like about this conversations is make you aware that there's so much things that we need to also work on. Because there are things that unlocks in us. When you hear coaches like Coach Cherry, when she shares her views and insights, you realize that there's so much more to learn. And once you hear this kind of stuff, kasi it enriches you and it makes you feel like you're in a whole new game. Right?
Yes.
Because you see things a new lens again. And that's what's great about being in the journey and being committed to definitely growing and becoming better as a person, because the world deserves a better and improved you. And the only way to do that is to really be open, like an open cup, learning from people like Cherry. Amazing time, amazing interview. Thank you very much, Coach
Thank
Cherry.
you so much, Coach.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank
We'd
you.
love to see you in NBU 2021.
See you, Coach, in NBA
We'll see each
2021.
other. 2021, when these things are over, when this thing is over, I'm going to make the intention to actually visit you, and I hope you could also visit us. We're gonna
We
see each
will.
other
Let's change the energy of the world, Cherry.
Yes,
Yeah.
you both take care. You both take care of yourself. The world needs you strong and healthy and alive. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you very much, guys. And that is today's episode for Bold Moments. I hope that made you bolder indeed. And I hope that you will use that in your life. Please check out Coach Perry in her platforms. And that's it. Thank you very much, guys. And see you again tomorrow.
Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye.